In Biden's inaugural address a year ago, he called repeatedly for unity. He said, and I've got a short quote, "We can treat each other with dignity and respect. We can join forces, stop the shouting, and lower the temperature. For without unity, there is no peace. There is only bitterness and fury. No progress, only exhausting outrage," end of quote. I was glad to hear him say all of those good intentions. I took it really as an invitation for bipartisanship. It sounded like the Joe Biden that I knew as a senator for the 28 years that he and I worked together. So I reached out early on to offer to work with him on lowering the cost of prescription drugs. But right out of the gate, he rejected good faith offers from all of us to work together on another COVID relief package, as Republicans and Democrats had on 5 others throughout the year of 2020. Even with the narrowest of margins, and you can't get much more narrow than a 50-50 Senate, President Biden let his party's agenda be dictated by the most radical, progressive wing of his party. The extreme radicals refused to compromise on a wish list having nothing to do with COVID. President Biden should instead have listened to Professor Larry Summers. He was President Clinton's Treasury Secretary and President Obama's Chief Economic Advisor. Professor Summers warned that all the spending the progressives were insisting on would fuel the fires of inflation. And now we know how right Professor Summers was. But that $2 trillion spending binge just whet the appetite of the very young radicals in the Democratic Party who don't remember 1970s stagflation. And if they had memories of stagflation, they willingly ignored history. Instead of offering to find common ground on issues like prescription drug pricing, the Democrats wasted much of the year trying to spend another $4 trillion on a slew of brand new entitlement programs. His one significant bipartisan achievement, passing a bipartisan infrastructure bill, was an all but gift-wrapped and handed to him by a bipartisan group of senators. Even then, liberal Democrats nearly derailed it by insisting its fate be tied to the passage of their unrelated liberal spending spree that's referred to as Build Back Better. Opponents called it Build Back Worse. Thankfully, moderate Democrats in the House successfully delinked the two bills, as we did in the Senate, and sent the infrastructure bill to the president's desk. So that was a bipartisan victory for the president, and it was a victory for bipartisanship in this Senate. Now, even more importantly, thanks to the leadership of Senator Manchin, along with the principled stand of Senator Sinema, Democrats' multi-billion-dollar liberal spending spree floundered. Build Back Better floundered. As a result, we avoided piling even more gasoline into the inflation fire. But as Larry Summers warned and Senator Manchin feared, the fire of inflation is already burning brightly. It is picking the pockets of hardworking middle-class Americans, which are paying more for gas and groceries, and for that matter, everything else. President Biden's reluctance to stand up to the radical voices in his own party or listen to moderate criticism has led to failure after failure. There is President Biden's decision day to shut down the Keystone Pipeline, day one of his administration, and more recently, to not shut down Russia's Nord Stream 2 pipeline. But now, thanks to Germany and the Ukraine situation, that is shut down, but no thanks to President Biden. He pulled the few remaining troops out of Afghanistan in a chaotic hurry, leaving Americans stranded. He has even accused friends across the aisle, people of my political party, that he has long worked with, of being Jim Crow racists. This isn't the uniting president that he promised that he would be on January 20th of last year. The good news is that it is not too late to change course. So hopefully he will get a big voice from both political parties about it's not too late to change course and work in a bipartisan way. There's reason to believe that he's trying to be Franklin Delano Roosevelt, but trying to be FDR without FDR's popularity and FDR's supermajority in the Congress, that approach has failed. I invite President Biden to face reality, ignore the radicals in his political party, whether in Congress or on his staff, and work across the aisle in a way I know he can. I saw that regularly for 28 years. Being the president you promised to be at your inauguration, in other words. The American people want action on issues that they're facing this very day. Inflation, spike of violent crimes, prescription drug costs, open borders, and you could have a myriad of other things. I could name 3 things that I'm part of a bipartisan effort to get things done. 1, take on big tech, Klobuchar and Grassley. Take on the big meat packers, Grassley and Tester and Fisher and Wyden. And take on prescription drugs, as Wyden and I worked on that prior to last year when Democrats took over and they forgot all about it. Let's get some of these things done. I yield the floor.